Do you remember back in the day, it seems like so long ago that we got on planes and traveled to events? The reason we left our house and did that wasn't just for content, but it was for the possibility of amazing connections. And I cannot wait for that to happen. But in the meantime, well, we have these online events. And online events historically were really just bonus content, but they no longer can be an exception to the rule that events are about content and connection, which is why we need to think about design elements and the promise that our participants are expecting of us. So as you're thinking about how to bring your in-person event online, you have to really start to reimagine it, not just replicate it. If you replicate it, you'll have a 3-day event that you ran in person, and you'll say, oh, should we have a 3-day event online? Well, the reason you had a 3-day event in person was actually a limitation of in-person, not a benefit. You were limited by the fact that everybody had to fly to that location, but that's no longer true. So now you might decide that same content and those same connections could be happening in a very different format. I've heard of people doing 2 one-hour sessions a week for 8 weeks leading into a 2-day online experience. I've seen people do 2 Saturdays in a row, or take an event that had 2 sessions happening concurrently and just made them a 2-day event. So you get to exercise that, and that's a question of strategy. And that leads me to my next point. So what is the purpose of your event? And what is the promise that participants expect you to keep? So I'll go to the promise part first. The promise generally comes down to content and connections. You'll see a theme here, right? Now, the purpose is often conveying information. Maybe you want to honor someone, gather people, make connections happen. You definitely want to be thinking about this from the perspective of your participants. I've seen too many events held in person where people actually have stopped thinking about that question. They're just like, well, last year we had this event in this venue, and we're just going to keep doing that over and over again. Well, here's an opportunity for you to rethink all of your events and really understand their purpose, and that will lead you to the best strategy. All right, so live events, in-person events were very theatrical. That's what it was. It was about going big, exciting, thinking how to bring in all the different textures and sounds, and well, that really doesn't work. It doesn't work when you're going online. Online is more about being cinematic. So think about sort of episodes, just staring at a screen for 45 minutes of death by PowerPoint, followed by 15 minutes of really poorly executed Q&A. It never really was a good idea, and it definitely isn't today. So today, instead, that 45 minutes of content, you want to be thinking about switching from slides to gallery view, back to doing some Q&A, running a poll, talking to people in chat, maybe doing some breakout sessions, going back to slides, and thinking about every 7 minutes or so, shifting the state that people are in so that they stay engaged. So think cinematic, episodic, and not just like one big, long PowerPoint. It's really not the way to go anymore. People are just gonna be less and less patient as time goes on. I mean, back in March and April, I was at a few events where people went to send us to breakout rooms and they weren't enabled on that particular Zoom link because it wasn't the Zoom link that trainer usually used. And that's kind of like a professional speaker walking into a venue in person and saying, well, I was planning on using PowerPoint, but I forgot to ask for a PowerPoint projector. See how it doesn't really work? Now, we were pretty forgiving in March and early April, but think about October, November, and beyond. When you go to an event, you're going to expect people to have really great content, be really smart and knowledgeable, be an expert, and you're going to expect them to know how to use the tools, the technology to convey that information. So it's important that every time you run an online event, you get 5% better. And that compounded continuous improvement means that you will stay at the top of your game, not just around your content, but about the way you convey it.